The black dress feels wrong against my skin as I stand before my 7-year-old son's casket. Wrong because Nathan should be here, holding my hand, sharing this unbearable weight. Wrong because parents shouldn't outlive their children. Wrong because while I'm burying our son, my husband is in Hawaii with his mistress. I know this because the photo arrived on my phone 10 minutes ago. Nathan, tanned and grinning, cocktail in hand, his arm wrapped around a blonde who can't be more than 30. The message below reads, "Thought you should see what your husband's really doing today. A concerned friend." My mother's hand tightens on my arm. "Gabrielle, you're shaking." I am. The phone trembles in my grip until I stuff it back into my purse. Around us, mourners whisper and stare. They know. Of course they know. In our small town, secrets spread like wildfire, and Nathan's absence at his own son's funeral will fuel gossip for months. "I'll kill him," my mother mutters, her voice thick with rage. "I'll kill that bastard with my bare hands." Lucas's small coffin gleams under the chapel lights. White roses blanket its surface, his favorite flower since the day he learned they could change color with food coloring. We spent hours in the hospital doing science experiments, watching pale petals transform into brilliant blues and purples. Anything to see him smile through the pain. Nathan's parents hover at the edge of the gathering, their expressions carefully neutral. Linda, my mother-in-law, catches my eye and quickly looks away. She knows too. She's probably known all along. "Mrs. Thompson?" The funeral director approaches, clipboard in hand. "We're ready to begin." I want to scream that I'm not ready. That none of this is right. That Lucas should be home playing video games or begging for 5 more minutes before bedtime. Instead, I nod and take my place in the front pew. My phone buzzes again. Another message, this time from Nathan himself. "Sorry I couldn't make it. Important business meeting. We'll make it up to you." The rage that floods through me is unlike anything I've ever felt. It burns away the grief, just for a moment, leaving behind something harder. Colder. More dangerous. I delete the message and straighten my spine. Let him enjoy his Hawaiian paradise with his cheap mistress. Let him think he's won. Let him believe I'll crumble and fade away like a good, grieving widow. I won't. I'm going to destroy him. Not just for abandoning us during Lucas's illness. Not just for missing his funeral. But for every lie, every betrayal, every moment he chose himself over our son. I'll take everything from him, piece by piece, until he understands exactly what loss feels like. The reception after Lucas's funeral feels like a performance, with everyone playing their assigned roles. My mother-in-law Linda corners me in the kitchen of my parents' house, her perfectly manicured hand gripping my arm just a bit too tight. "Nathan's going through a difficult time," she says, voice dripping with manufactured sympathy. "We all process grief differently." I shake off her grip, focusing on arranging cookies that nobody will eat onto a serving plate. Is that what we're calling it now? Processing grief in Hawaii? Her lips thin into a sharp line. "You always did have a flair for dramatics, Gabrielle. Perhaps if you'd been more understanding during Lucas's illness." "Don't you dare." My mother's voice cuts through the kitchen like a blade. She stands in the doorway, and I've never seen such fury in her eyes. "Don't you dare blame my daughter for your son's cowardice." Linda's mask slips for just a moment, revealing something ugly underneath. "Margaret, this is hardly the time." "It's exactly the time." My mother steps closer, and despite being shorter than Linda, she somehow towers over her. While my daughter was sleeping in hospital chairs for months, where was Nathan? While my grandson was fighting for his life, where were you and Robert with your family support? The sound of breaking china makes us all jump. I've crushed one of the cookies in my fist, crumbs scattering across the counter. In the living room, I can hear my father asking someone about his newspaper for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. "We contributed financially," Linda says stiffly. "Which is more than I can say for some people." My mother laughs, but it's a harsh sound. "Oh yes, your precious money. Tell me, Linda, does Nathan know about the trust fund yet? The one Robert's father left specifically for his great-grandchildren?" Linda's face goes white. It's the first time I've heard about any trust fund, and clearly, that information wasn't meant for my ears. That's a family matter, she hisses. Lucas was family, I say quietly, the pieces clicking into place. He was the only great-grandchild. Which means that money was his. The silence in the kitchen grows thick with unspoken accusations. Linda's perfectly composed facade cracks just enough for me to see the calculation behind her eyes. All those times she discouraged Nathan from spending time with Lucas. All those convenient business trips she arranged during his hospital stays, it wasn't just emotional distance. It was strategic. I think you should leave, my mother says, but Linda's already retreating. Her heels clicking against the hardwood floor like tiny hammers driving nails into my growing rage. I turn to my mother. Tell me everything about that trust fund. Her smile is grim. Oh, sweetheart. That's just the beginning of what I have to tell you. 3 days after the funeral, I find the life insurance papers in Nathan's home office. Not in a drawer or filing cabinet, but scattered across his desk like fallen leaves, forms, receipts, and a post-it note with a call Sam Ree. Policy scrawled in his hasty handwriting. My hands shake as I rifle through the documents. Lucas's policy, taken out 6 months after his diagnosis, is for $2 million. The beneficiary line catches my eye, Nathan Thompson, sole recipient. My name has been crossed out, the change dated just weeks before Lucas died. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number, we need to talk. Coffee shop on Main. Now. Samantha. The name hits me like a slap. Sam. The woman from the Hawaii photo. The same Sam from the post-it note. I find her exactly where she said she'd be, looking expensive in a way that speaks of someone else's money. She doesn't stand when I approach, just stirs her coffee with calculated precision. I'm surprised you came, she says, not looking up. I'm surprised you had the nerve to contact me. Now she does look up, and there's something hard in her eyes. Nathan's been promising me things. Big things. But now he's not returning my calls. What kind of things? A fresh start. A new life together. She laughs, but it's bitter. Funded by your son's insurance money. The world tilts sideways. I grip the edge of the table, my knuckles white. He told you about that? He tells me everything. She pulls out her phone, scrolls through messages. Including how he made sure you'd never see a penny of it. His mother's idea, apparently. She never thought you deserved their family money. Why are you telling me this? Samantha leans forward. Because he's playing both of us. That policy? He promised to split it with me. But I did some digging. He's got gambling debts, Gabrielle. Big ones. The kind that make people desperate. My throat feels like sandpaper. You're lying. She slides her phone across the table. Text messages, bank statements, photos, a digital trail of betrayal spanning months. Nathan and Linda, plotting. Nathan and Samantha, planning. Nathan at casinos, at loan sharks, at places he should never have been while our son was dying. I'm not the villain here, Samantha says quietly. I'm just another mark in his con. But unlike you, I've got nothing left to lose. I stand up, my chair scraping against the floor. You're wrong about one thing. I've got nothing left to lose either. Not anymore. She smiles, and it's all teeth. Then maybe we should help each other. I look at her, this woman who helped destroy my family, and realize she might be exactly what I need, a weapon aimed straight at Nathan's heart. I find my father sitting in Lucas's room, holding one of his stuffed animals, the worn penguin that went with him to every hospital stay. He looks up at me with that familiar confused expression, but today there's something different in his eyes. You look just like your mother when she's planning something dangerous, he says, his voice clearer than it's been in months. I sink onto Lucas's bed, the mattress still holding the indent where he spent his final weeks. Dad, do you remember what we talked about yesterday? He strokes the penguin's matted fur. No. But I remember Lucas telling me about the trust fund. Right before. His brow furrows. Was that real? My heart stops. What trust fund, Dad? The one Nathan's father wanted to discuss. Robert came here when Lucas was sick. Said something about protecting family assets. He looks around the room, momentarily lost. Did I dream that? I take his hand, forcing myself to stay gentle despite my racing pulse. No, Dad. When exactly was this? Your mother was at the hospital with Lucas. Robert brought papers. He squeezes my hand suddenly, his grip surprisingly strong. I didn't sign them. They felt wrong. Like when you smell smoke but can't see the fire. The pieces clicked together, Robert's unexpected visits, Linda's careful manipulations, Nathan's sudden interest in our family's property holdings. They weren't just after Lucas's insurance money. They were trying to secure everything while my father was vulnerable. My phone buzzes. A message from Samantha, Nathan's back. Meeting with his lawyer tomorrow. Something about property transfers. I should have protected you better, my father says, his voice cracking. Both of you. You did protect us, Dad. By not signing those papers. I stand, my decision crystallizing. And now it's my turn. He holds out the penguin. Lucas knew, you know. About Nathan. He told me not to worry about you because you're stronger than everyone thinks. His eyes cloud over. Who's Nathan? The familiar pain of watching him slip away mingles with a new determination. I take the penguin, its soft weight anchoring me to this moment. My phone buzzes again. Uncle Peter this time found something in the property records. Come to my office. Now. I kiss my father's forehead. I have to go, Dad. But I promise you, they won't take anything else from this family. He smiles vaguely, already lost in whatever fragment of memory has claimed him. But his earlier words echo in my mind, like smoke without fire. They thought they could use my father's condition to steal our legacy. Instead, they've given me exactly what I need, proof of their intentions. The penguin goes into my bag. A reminder of what I'm fighting for, and why losing isn't an option. Uncle Peter's office is a fortress of filing cabinets and legal documents, but what he shows me isn't in any drawer. It's on his computer screen, a series of property transfers dating back to when Lucas first got sick. They've been planning this for months, Peter says, scrolling through document after document. Shell companies, hidden accounts, all leading back to Nathan and his parents. My fingers trace the dates on screen. Each one corresponds to a hospital stay, a chemotherapy session, a day when I was too focused on keeping Lucas alive to notice what Nathan was doing. Here's the kicker, Peter continues, pulling up another file. They used Lucas's medical bills to justify emergency sales of your joint assets. Everything's been quietly moving into accounts you can't access. A knock at the door makes us both jump. It's Samantha, looking less polished than at the coffee shop. Sorry to interrupt, but Nathan's meeting got moved up. He's at the lawyer's office now. Peter glances at his watch. That's not possible. The meeting's scheduled for. Linda changed it, Samantha cuts in. They're signing everything over today. Once that's done. She lets the sentence hang. My phone buzzes, a text from Nathan, we need to talk about the house. Coming by later. The house. My parents' house, where my father still lives, where Lucas spent his final days. The property that's been in my family for 3 generations. Show me everything, I tell Peter, my voice steady despite the rage building inside. Every document, every transfer, every lie. For the next hour, we piece it together. Nathan's gambling debts, hidden behind corporate facades. Linda's systematic dismantling of our joint assets. Robert's attempts to manipulate my father into signing away his property rights. There's one more thing, Samantha says quietly. She pulls out her phone, plays a recording. Nathan's voice fills the room, discussing with Linda how to handle my father's condition. How to use his dementia to their advantage. The recording ends. In the silence, I hear Lucas's voice in my memory. Promise you won't let them take our home, Mom. We can stop them, Peter says. But we have to move now. I stand, gathering the documents we've printed. No. I'm not just going to stop them. I pull Lucas's penguin from my bag, set it on Peter's desk. I'm going to take everything back. And then I'm going to make sure they never hurt another person again. Samantha's lips curve into a smile. I was hoping you'd say that. Because I know exactly where they've hidden the real estate contracts. Get your coat, I tell Peter. We're going to pay Nathan's lawyer a visit. And this time, I'm not leaving until I have what I came for. The penguin watches with its worn button eyes as we head out, three unlikely allies united by betrayal. Moving toward a confrontation that will change everything. The lawyer's office feels like a trap. Nathan sits across the conference table, Linda and Robert flanking him like guards. The stack of documents between us might as well be a wall. You're making this harder than it needs to be, Nathan says, sliding the papers toward me. Just sign. For Lucas. My hand clenches around the USB drive in my pocket, the one containing every fraudulent document, every recorded conversation. Every piece of evidence Peter helped me gather. Don't you dare say his name. Linda leans forward, her perfectly manicured nails tapping the table. Gabrielle, dear, you're clearly not thinking clearly. Grief can make people. Show them, Samantha's voice cuts through the room as she strides in, Peter right behind her. Show them what we found. Nathan's face drains of color. What is she doing here? I connect the USB to the lawyer's computer, and the projector flickers to life. Document after document appears on the screen, property transfers, falsified signatures. Recorded conversations about using my father's condition to steal our family home. It's over, I say, but Nathan's smile stops me cold. Actually, he pulls out another folder. There's something you should see first. The documents inside make my blood freeze. Photographs of Peter meeting with known criminals. Bank statements showing suspicious transfers from my mother's accounts. Emails suggesting tax fraud dating back years. Imagine how devastating this would be for your family, Linda says softly. Your uncle's business ruined, your mother implicated. Your father would have to leave that lovely home of his. Where would he go, in his condition? Peter starts to speak, but Nathan cuts him off. We can make all of this go away. Or we can destroy everything you have left. Your choice. The room spins. Every piece of evidence I gathered, every plan I made, turns to ash in my mouth. They weren't just after money, they were setting up an insurance policy against exactly this moment. You have until tomorrow morning, Nathan says, standing. Choose wisely. They file out, leaving me alone with Peter and Samantha. The projector still cycles through my evidence, now useless against their counter-threat. They won't stop, Samantha whispers. They'll take everything, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. I stare at the last photo on screen, Lucas in the hospital, Nathan conspicuously absent, as always. My son fought until his last breath, never giving up despite impossible odds. No, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. They won't take anything else. Because we're not playing their game anymore. Peter touches my shoulder. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time to stop trying to beat them at their own game. We need to change the rules entirely. The lights flicker, casting shadows across the evidence of both our crimes and theirs. Tomorrow morning suddenly feels very far away. My mother's kitchen has always been a sanctuary, but tonight it's a war room. Files and documents cover every surface as Margaret spreads out what she calls her insurance policy. I've been tracking Nathan's schemes since Lucas's first hospital stay, she says, revealing years of surveillance photos, bank statements, and recorded conversations. I knew something wasn't right when he started pressuring Henry about the property titles. Peter picks up a document, his eyes widening. These transfers? They're all legally binding, but they're not what Nathan thinks they are. A knock at the door makes us all freeze. Samantha slips in, her designer outfit replaced by casual clothes, her phone recording. They're on their way. Linda convinced Nathan that tonight's the night to force your hand. Perfect timing, my mother says, and there's something in her voice I've never heard before, steel wrapped in silk. Show her, Peter. My uncle pulls up documents on his tablet. Every property Nathan thought he'd secured, every asset he tried to steal, has been legally transferred, not to him, but to a trust in Lucas's name. With me as executor. How? I whisper. Your father had more clear days than they realized, Margaret says. We made sure every transfer was properly witnessed and notarized during those moments. Nathan's been so busy creating fake documents, he never bothered to check the real ones. Headlights sweep across the windows. Car doors slam. Remember, Peter says quickly, let them think they're in control. Nathan bursts in without knocking, Linda and Robert right behind him. He's holding the folder of threats against my family, his smile triumphant. Time's up, he announces. Have you made your decision? I stand, letting my hands shake, playing the role they expect. You win. I'll sign whatever you want. Linda's smile mirrors her son's. I knew you'd see reason. Actually, Samantha steps forward, her phone still recording, I think you should see this first. The color drains from Nathan's face as she plays a recording, him confessing to insurance fraud, to manipulating my father. To planning everything while Lucas was dying. But it's not just his voice on the recording. Linda's there too, orchestrating every move. You set us up, Nathan snarls, lunging forward, but Peter blocks his path. No, I say quietly. You set yourself up. Every fake document you created, every illegal transfer you attempted, they all leave a paper trail. One that's already been sent to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Linda reaches for the folder of threats, but my mother snatches it first. Looking for these? Funny thing about evidence, it works both ways. Especially when it's been carefully documented by a retired legal secretary who spent 40 years learning how to protect family assets. Nathan's face contorts. You can't. I already have, I cut him off. The only question now is how far you want this to go. Because I'm ready to lose everything to make sure you lose more. The silence that follows feels like justice. The morning frost crunches under my feet as I make my way through the cemetery. Lucas's headstone stands clean and bright, the marble catching early sunlight. I brush away fallen leaves, setting down the worn penguin stuffed animal against the stone. You'd be proud of your grandmother, I say softly. She outsmarted them all. Nathan and Linda face federal charges for financial fraud. Robert turned state's evidence, finally finding his voice after decades of passive compliance. The trust fund, Lucas's rightful inheritance, will go to the pediatric cancer ward where he spent his final months. He's at peace now, my father says, and I startle. I hadn't heard him approach. He stands beside me, more lucid than he's been in weeks. Lucas told me so. Dad, you're having a good day. He shakes his head. No, before. The night he came to me. Said not to worry about you anymore. Said you'd find your strength. He touches the penguin's matted fur. Funny thing about strength, sometimes it looks like revenge, but it's really just love wearing armor. The weight of everything, the battles won, the family protected, the justice served, settles around my shoulders like a familiar coat. Not comfortable, exactly, but necessary. Samantha left town after providing her testimony, but not before leaving me a final note. Some victories don't feel like winning. She was right. This doesn't feel like triumph. It feels like survival. My phone buzzes, Peter, updating me on the last of Nathan's assets being frozen. I silence it without responding. That chapter's finished. Ready to go home? I ask my father. He stares at the headstone, something shifting behind his eyes. Did I tell you about Lucas visiting? Yes, Dad. Just now. Oh. He pauses, then smiles. Good. Wouldn't want to forget that. As we turn to leave, movement catches my eye, a monarch butterfly landing on Lucas's headstone, its wings catching the sun like stained glass. My father reaches for it, but I catch his hand. Let it be, I say, understanding finally washing over me. Revenge wasn't the answer I needed. It was this, protecting what remains, honoring what was lost, finding peace in the spaces between justice and mercy. The butterfly takes flight, dancing on the morning breeze. My father watches it go, then turns to me with clear eyes. Shall we have pancakes? Lucas always loved pancakes. Yes, I say, taking his arm. He did. We leave the penguin standing guard, a silent sentinel against the marble. Behind us, the butterfly spirals upward, free and unburdened, showing us how to let go.